Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to Tomes and Tales RPG. I'm glad everyone's laughing now because I'm about to bring the mood back down. Catharax, the death from above, or Catarax, as I've been bullied into calling him out.
I have Catarax.
The death from above has been defeated, and our heroes find themselves staggering back into Potts Hollow. Two of our party members suffering long-lasting negative effects, while our gunslinger is dealing with a shock after losing her arm. So we won't waste any more time. We'll get straight back into tonight's episode of Tomes and Tales. Ooh!
A story from Tomes and Tales RPG.
What are you giggling about, you fuck?
Well, whenever I'm playing around with Zero's got the one arm poking out. It's always really annoying. I can chop
You're so cute!
Oh,
Swim!
swim!
Oh no!
Look at this.
Oh.
This is our new mascot.
Look at your little arms, little T-Rex. Look at
Oh.
I'll be sticking these on.
it. And welcome back.
There was an intensity in your face.
Don't even worry about it.
The rain hammers down against your skin. Your throats are burning and ragged as each breath tears more away from you. Your muscles scream like they've never screamed before, each step shooting aches up your backs and into your chest. There is a fear in the back of your mind that overshadows your victory over Catharax, a hateful dragon that took his pain out on those around him. Nice. Zero. Your vision is blurred. Underneath you, you are, I believe you were riding a top dog when we got picked up last. The dog was helping you move along.
Yes.
Who himself was in the thick of battle against your common foe, helping you towards the doors of the, I believe we're going to the apothecary, correct? Yep. It's been 3 weeks for us, give me some slack. And Zefaris is along next to you. In this moment, in your like barely conscious state, what's going through Zero's mind?
Probably, I mean, in a barely conscious state, I dare say she's probably being hardly able to string together a coherent thought. But very loosely in the background, she's trying to slowly think about the logistics of how she's going to go forward with her gunslinging with only one arm. And she's trying to keep herself calm by just going, I've still got my pepper boxes. I can still do something, even with one arm, it'll be fine. And kind of just pep talking herself quietly in the back of her head.
Fair enough. Zeph, never in your lifetime did you ever think you'd really see a dragon, let alone have to fight one. And to think that the dragon you fought wasn't even a normal one by default is probably equally as impressive as it is terrifying. And your based instincts that align with your skill set would come to the forefront of your mind. Run, hide, attack. Run, hide, stay hidden, stay deadly. It's a tactic that's kept you alive for as long as you can remember. And today it almost wasn't enough. What's going through Zefaris' mind at this moment as they escort Zero to the apothecary?
I think for them, it'd basically just be not necessarily thinking about themselves, but thinking about Zero, like what they could possibly do to help Zero in this situation. Because they've never cared for a person enough that's not their adoptive family, where they've lost a limb. So they have no idea how to do that, because usually they're the ones cutting the limbs off.
True.
So I think it would just be the processes of thinking of like who to talk to, and the first person that would come to mind would be Sebastian,
but there's no way to communicate with him this far away from the city. So they'll just be trying to think of what they can do really to help Zero with that.
Fair enough. There we go.
Good call. I think you two walking along, it's almost like you're, like when babies first learn to walk and the parents always do this kind of thing, and you're like, it's kind of like that, because Zero, as fucked up as she is a strong and independent woman, and she's trying to keep herself upright, but you can just, it's like trying to balance a slinky on another slinky. Kind of doing a lot of these, so you're like walking along. And obviously, like, the rain's, like, just fucking hammering down, which doesn't help, because that's, like, another force pushing her off the top of this creature. And Dog, just being the good boy that he is, eventually gets you guys to the front door of the apothecary. What happens next? What happens now? You're basically, like, at the door by this point.
Yeah. I'd probably open it as quickly as I can to let Dog in. And then once we're inside, not even... thinking to call out for anyone or anything like that, just essentially picking Zero up and putting her out the back on like the closest table.
One of the tables, yeah. Okay. What time? Does anyone recall what time of day it was when we attacked that dragon? I feel like it was afternoon. By this point, it's probably like evening. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
A couple hours to get back.
Excuse me. Oh, we haven't been in the tracks. You can cut that out now.
Hopefully we have the tracks.
When you go into the room that has like all the beds and the stretchers and stuff, it's like you kind of like drag Zero off of Dog and help her walk through, kick the doors open because they just swing on hinges, and like get her on the bed and stuff. Now, thankfully, due to the nature of like cure wounds and like that kind of magic, that wound isn't bleeding, and nothing bad's happening. You're not losing vital battery juice at this point, but it still hurts like fuck.
Yeah.
So, I think there would be a moment of like, you have pretty ready access now because you've been here long enough to kind of understand, like, oh, there's a couple of things here. You run about and start grabbing what you can off the shelves to try and put something together to help. And we'll come back to you two at a later moment. Voyage. Dragons played a small part in your childhood. Both of your fathers having been in several scrapes with the scale beasts before the magical bow that found you on your journey through the Unerashroud wilderness pushed you towards a task that almost went south at a rapid pace, but again, with your friends, you persevered. As you're walking into town, you see a Dog who had been moving ahead to help get Zero to the apothecary. Eventually, he reconvenes with you, and he slinks really small. Like, he's equally, I think, just fucking knackered by this point. And he's like huffing along like just a really tired animal. But what's going through Voyage's mind? Where's he going?
So, I'll describe it in the way he's walking for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He's mad. He's so mad because he feels like he's been slighted.
Mm-hmm.
Not just by the instance in which they've fought this dragon, and this dragon has now taken the arm of his mother-in-law. Not official, but soon, maybe. We'll see.
Extended universe.
No, this universe.
Check out the AU.
Over on AO3.
We'll see you there.
It's just mother-in-law pending.
Just down the bottom in like asterisks.
But there's just this ungodly rage kind of going on just beneath the surface. So it's the resting grumpy face. Because he feels like he's been given this mission by these spirits within this bow, but he just could not get the bow to function. He could not get it to work for him. So he feels like he was sent in there with all of these people he's grown to care about to die.
Mm.
And he's fucking mad about it. So quite frankly, ribs under his arm, he's in a bit of a huff.
I forgot you've got that. Just one with two big bones.
He's in a bit of a huff. And frankly, he's gone back to the last place that they stopped, which I believe was Oak's house.
Oh, the big house on the hill.
Yeah. Just to head up there and decompress about the instance.
Okay.
Because there's not much he can do about fixing a missing limb.
True. Fair enough. You walk up to the house. Again, it's pretty dark. It's into the evening. And there's like again, because the house is so big, so you can see some soft light in through like one of the windows. So you would definitely assume that Rose, thank God I had a brain fart. Rose is home. Doesn't seem like there's anyone else in there at this point. So what do you just want to walk in?
Just walk in, and if he crosses paths with Rose,
She's in the sitting room, which is like down the hall. Yeah.
There's just a small nod of acknowledgement, but he's off to spend some time in solitude with Dog.
And she goes, "Oh, hello, dear." Oh. Okay.
Ribs under his arm.
Yeah. It's like,
He doesn't even put them in the mudroom. They're just with him.
yeah. It's just two going. Like, lovely. Hugle and Petunia. Today you both undertook a task neither of you thought you would have ever believed you would. In fact, you're pretty certain that if you told your past selves of what you would have done here today, your younger selves probably would have laughed. Yet you move. I believe you said you guys were going to see the crone, right? Or is it? Yeah. Do we want to change that? What's the game?
My plan was to drag you to the crone. So both Petunia and Zeph, because they were the two that were cursed. Am I correct?
That is correct. But Zeph was taking.
Yeah. So I straight away was like, we need to go do something about this. There's residual magic sitting here, and then it's up to you guys whether you come with to take care of that or.
Zeph will come after, making sure Zero's okay. Like, at least until Zero can sleep, is when Zeph will probably go to the crone.
And again, Petunia, your call. He was not going to push. He's just clearly worried.
Honestly, by this point, Petunia's just a little person, doesn't have that great of a constitution. She's looking pretty shit. But there's bigger things going on right now. We'll get to that later. And if she will, she'd just pull out like mortar and pestle and some distillery kit and just start rapidly crafting shit. And she's knows exactly where everything is. A lot of opium poppies, some arnica, some different things like that, and is going to start trying to craft the high fantasy equivalent of morphine.
Yeah, I'd allow it.
And Hugo's being that annoying, like, boyfriend. You sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay? Every, like, 5 minutes. You alright? Okay?
You're going to cop a wooden spoon.
Yeah, probably.
In a minute.
This is how I am in real life, though.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. So you probably, it's like Hugle's attempting to drag you one way, and then Petunia just goes, "Back off," and then fucking power sprints up to the apothecary. And yeah, true enough. So you can hear like some of the kerfuffling in one of the rooms where Zefaris is putting together like a sleeping situation for Zero in an attempt to help her rest, and you can start putting those items together. And would you follow by this point? Probably. Yeah. So you're kind of watching this thunderstorm of people running in and out of this apothecary because Siobhan's not there. She has no need to be there at that point in night. No one needs immediate help. So I'll turn it over. We'll give you guys a bit of a minute here. So what's that look like when everyone links up together? Voyage obviously not here, but you guys are all the apothecary by this point, helping you specifically, Zero, to get through that. So I'll turn it over to you. You guys control what happens next.
I feel like when you guys walk in, Zeph wouldn't even perceive. They're just tunnel vision at the moment, trying to, like, basically going through all the shelves and stuff like that and using their knowledge that they've learnt throughout the few days that they were here, just taking off the ingredients that they needed and then running back to where, like, all the
Distills?
yeah,
Stuff.
I was getting there. I was going to be like tubes, glass tubes.
Tubes.
Those things. Essentially going to like the distillery table and trying to make something as best as they can with the knowledge that they have.
You
So
keep
yeah, that's
being you.
what they're
It
doing.
works for the shorts. That energy, love it. Continue, sorry.
No, that's it. That's it.
I think there'd be a very eerie familiarity with which Petunia moves, because this is not the first missing limb that she's dealt with.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
And that made me feel bad.
Hugo's sort of just standing there, like, tell me if I can help. But standing back, like, doesn't know what to do, isn't... Like, he does magic healing, this is beyond him.
In the corner with a hot cup of coffee.
Every now and again, like, looking into the bag and pulling out the hand and... Like, does anyone need it? And then putting it back.
Hey, joke's on you. You open the bag up and pull the arm out, and the ring's not there.
Or the ring?
Oh.
I thought you were going to say a whole other person comes out with it.
Surprise!
Just 3 arms now.
I was a twin!
It's the bagman.
It's the bagman.
Hugo would look to the shadows in the room right away.
Nothing that catches your attention. I'll just give you that on a passive.
And sort of looks around, but I imagine there's so much going on, he's not even going to interject right now.
Yeah.
If you were to walk in front of Zeph would absolutely bowl you over right now. Like you'd be walking and then just
But with Hugo's intelligence, I'll put it there. He's like, oh shit, I've lost the ring.
It fell off.
He kind of puts it back in and looks around the room like,
internal panic.
Honestly, seeing you do nothing at some point to be a direction to go and make Zero comfortable as best you can.
And what does... If Hugle is sent over to make Zero comfortable, what's it look like?
it looks like Hugo pulling out one of the last of those bottles of wine he stole from the kitchen when we left the...
Good move.
Zero, like, kind of like, because I'm assuming that is she been put on a table.
Like
She'd probably,
bed.
yeah, she'd probably be still trying to sit up. She's a bit stubborn like that, so she'd kind of be sitting on it. And her other free hand would just kind of be sitting on her shoulder, trying to like put pressure on it to try and garner a new sensation. But obviously, nothing's going to overtake the pain that she's feeling from her missing limb right now. And when Hugle pulls out the bottle of wine, she goes to grab it, and can I do a perception to see if the ring has moved to her right hand?
Oh, you don't need to roll for it. You notice it. It'd be so blatantly obvious for you that you just feel like,
Yeah, so she'll go to grab the bottle from Hugle, and she'll like have a look at the what fingers it.
It goes on the ring finger,
Yeah.
but it's just now on the good hand.
Yeah. And she'll kind of like regard it very silently, very quickly. Almost a sense of like relief that that's not an issue that she's going to have to deal with, that it's just kind of sorted itself out. Because as much as this arrangement... situationship has been sort of painted in a poor light for everybody else, it's... Zero inexplicably feels a twang of relief that it's like sorted itself out. And then she thinks about it for a moment longer, and she then just will like set the bottle down beside her. If she really needs it, she'll take it, but she would like to keep a majority of her sobriety if she can, even right now.
That is entirely fair. Absolutely. Sorry, give me a second. Mum tried to call me, and I had to reject it. I'm busy. I'm working.
We can pause if you need to.
Nah.
No?
Pick it up in front of the camera. Put it on loudspeaker.
Oh, no. God in heaven, no. God in heaven, no.
Instantly demonetized?
I would be cast out of God's graces forever.
Love you, Mandy.
Love you, Mum. There's a, I think in that moment, you know how it's the, in moments of shock, your hearing kind of sharpens in, and you can only really hear yourself. You can't hear what's happening around you. So the kerfuffle of the noise around you is very, it's not super loud, but it's intense.
Yeah.
And it like kind of, like your ears go a bit silent, and it's just you in this moment explicitly. And you can hear that, like this light breathing kind of come over your shoulder where your arm is missing. And in your own little moment, the Wanderer kind of puts his like elongated hand like kind of on your lower back as you're sitting up in the bed, And he just goes, well, that was close.
Zero kind of doesn't really say anything. She kind of just like closes her eyes for a moment and very like slowly nods her head and just sort of lets out sort of like sound of agreement. She's trying to really stay focused on like not passing out and healing forward or anything like that off the table. And she almost actually takes advantage of the fact that his hand's there and kind of like rests into it a bit to try and keep her propped up some.
He doesn't make any effort to move. But even then, in that moment, he goes, in light of how our relationship came to be, if I may be so bold as to say it out loud, if I may be so bold as to say it out loud to you, I'm glad you're not dead. However, the arm situation is quite unfortunate.
There'll probably be like a very tired smirk that comes over her face. And it'll almost be like kind of like a inaudible mumble for everybody else. But she kind of just very quietly says, "Are you getting soft on me?"
Soft? No, not me. Slightly concerned for my, how, as you so boldly put it to the children, investment. But in all seriousness, I am glad to see that you're still alive, even though in pieces.
It will be fine. I've still got one arm. I can still be great.
I hope so. Looking a little bit red out there, my dear.
Red is nothing new for me.
Mother, murderer, poet. Is there anything you can't do?
Cook.
Stole my fucking line from me!
It's just those face sensors, right?
And as he kind of chuckles to himself, you feel his other hand reach and like just like gently push on your shoulder, and he like kind of forces you to lay down a little bit. And then as you lay down, because obviously like you guys can't see it because he can internalize his interactions with Zero. And then there's just a very gentle like pressing of the hair on your head, and he goes, "You've earned a break. Sleep it off, sport."
She'll probably close her eyes after that.
And then off she goes.
Hugle sort of really slowly comes in, just checks the heartbeat. Like, she's not dead.
when he comes in to check the heartbeat, she thinks it's going to be louder than what it is, but she very lazily goes, and then goes back to try and arrest.
Well played. I deserve that.
Poor Hugo.
He's frazzled as fuck.
Yeah, I believe it. Does anyone else in the apothecary have anything they would like to achieve before we go check in on the ranger?
Just trying to make potions.
Making morphine.
Fair enough. Now, thankfully, due to the concept, obviously, like, painkillers aren't really a thing that you have to worry about mechanically in D&D. It's pretty simple for you guys to put that together. I would definitely think that there's a few fuck-ups, because in the haste to try and, like, measure the things, like, obviously you're really good at it, but Zeph's still learning. So there's a couple of moments where some of them come out a bit wonky, but you're able to put some poppy together and make, you know, this insane painkiller.
Just, hang on, I need to interject here. Is it a struggle because of the fingernails, or are you trying to pick the perfect one?
No, they're really tightly packed in.
Okay.
They're like really tightly.
I see you doing this with the...
Yeah.
Just try it on camera.
No, it's not just you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was such a fucking man way to do it, Seb.
Yeah, shove your finger in there.
It's not working. I gotta do this now.
My Grimdark campaign.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, again.
God, no, that's sampling.
Oh, now you're crushing them all. Oh, they're gonna be in
Yeah,
pieces.
try.
My hero.
Hero.
I made a bit of a mess.
Oh wait, no, we don't like Dave Grohl anymore. No.
We don't?
Nope, he had an illegitimate love child outside of his 20-year marriage or something.
There
I wonder what all the
goes
names were
my
about.
marriage.
Watch it as it goes. Okay. Voyage, we'll go back to you at the branch house. So you kind of shuffled through the front hall. I barely acknowledged Petunia's mum, dragging a muddy and bloodied and hurt Drake, 2 giant ribs, a la Flintstones.
Yeah.
And then you've gone into one of the guest rooms, and I'll turn it over to you. What happens? What's he do? What's he feeling?
So there's even this moment where you just kind of... You see him walk in with Dog. We pan over to these guys making greatness and flirting with their husband while half dead. But when the camera pans back, the tattoos are in place on his arm and Dog is not present.
Mm-hmm.
And he's there, bow in his lap, really aggressively trying to commune with this fucking spirit to just give it a piece of his mind.
In this instance, I'm also buying time because I'm chewing. Sorry, I picked the wrong time to snack.
Nom, 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 nom.
I'm going to say, considering as bad as it was, the overarching success of the original task at hand, the thing that you were sent to destroy has been destroyed nonetheless. I will give you this one for free. And you know when the it's like when you hear a phone get picked up. You know it's been picked up because every time stops around you. Mm-hmm. And you know you're existing in a vacuum right now. So you know you've got the other end on. So basically it's like... And all of a sudden it's just fucking dead silent. You can't even hear your own breath because you're not actually there. It's like your spirit is in a different fucking place. And then through the reflection of the window with a storm outside, maybe 30 feet in the distance, you can just see a pair of glowing eyes watching you from the outside. So you know someone's there, like listening. So I just go to you. What happens?
It's the eye contact when he notices, like when you can feel someone watching you.
Yeah.
And you know exactly where to pinpoint it. What the actual fuck was that?
What do you mean?
What the fuck? You sent me on this mission? And this bow doesn't work.
What would a dragon spirit say to that? Fuck, I don't think this through.
Skill issue.
A good workman never blames their tools.
You know what? I think because dragons have got that like kind of like cunty fucking air about them.
Ally.
Ally. The eyes kind of like narrow in, and it's weird because they're so far away, but you can just see the fucking way that they're moving, and they like thin out, and it's like, well, you're alive, aren't you? You made it to the end.
Not in one piece. My poor, again, insert soon. Mother-in-law's lost an arm.
It's just in brackets STB. Yeah, fair enough. What would he say? He goes, I think he would say, for great successes, there must be great sacrifices. Be thankful it wasn't you.
I would have loved for at least one arrow to find its target, however. Was that something you just didn't give me in the fine print? Was that just, oh, go and kill this big dragon with this fancy bow and take Dog along with you? But when you go to fight it, nothing's gonna land. Where was the assistance I was promised for this task?
What do you say to that? Thinking. I keep saying he. It's definitely not a he. It's definitely a they. It's a multitude of spirits in one form. They would go... There are certain individuals in a pantheon of gods that don't look kindly on those that are just fate. We can point you in the right direction, but we cannot adjust it too far off the scales, if you pardon the expression.
If you... What?
Oh no. The laugh.
It is genuinely that small, slowly, progressively insane-sounding fucking laugh.
The rage laugh.
Because if you call what occurred adjusting the scales at all, what the fuck were we even doing to begin with? You're supposed to be some mighty spirits who have sent me on this mission.
I think in that moment when you're starting to get super animated and you're like, you're these mighty spirits, like, what the fuck, you meant to help me, this and that. There's like almost like from the ether, so from the shadow where these eyes are, you feel, because again, it's like your physical body's there, but your spiritual, it's like Doctor Strange when he does the projection kind of feel. So you're existing on a different frequency. This giant, like, spectral dragon claw kind of reaches out and, like, pushes you down. It's kind of like watching the scale of a god, like, come down. And, like, you feel your spiritual self kind of, like, crushed under the weight of this paw. As now, an entity that in their own right is very powerful begins to, like, kind of stand over the top of you. The eyes are still forever in the distance, but it's just this giant spectral fucking claw that pins you down. And it's just like, you can hear like the heavy snorting and breathing. It's no longer an intelligent creature. It's starting to turn more into like a beast again. And it's just like this, we are not gods, boy. We exist in our own world. We have our own rules. We have our own systems, but we are not gods. We cannot help you with every little thing that you mortals piss and moan and whine about. There's only so much we can do. If you don't like it, we don't know how to help you. And then there's that, like, the claw retracts.
As, like, that sensation fades, it's just this... I should have known that from the start, considering how many of you fell to my father's.
Ooh.
And then he ends the connection.
Ooh.
Hangs up.
Damn, that's harsh. Take inspiration. Hang on. Have you got inspiration already?
Don't call, just text me.
Hey.
A blue coin.
Oh,
look at inspiration.
I will add, however, in ending the connection, it's just a few rapid blinks as tear tracks have been stained down his fucking cheeks. No. And he just hurls the bow across the room. It bounces and lands. And he just throws a little tantrum quietly in the room.
Jesus.
Not even just a stomp. It's that toddler arms and legs flailing. There's this shout that Rose hears.
Oh, poor body.
Punch in the pillow, 100%.
Lilo and Stitch.
Is that the one you
screaming.
farted on, or is that...
Yeah.
Put it near your face and find out.
Is there anything else that he does?
Not at this particular moment.
On this particular one. Okay. We will cut back to the apothecary. So Zero has found rest by this point, and you guys have been able to administer some form of painkiller to her. What do you three want to do?
I'm just standing back trying to be helpful. I have no idea what to do.
I feel like at that point, Zeph would probably be sitting on the edge of the bed with like a wet cloth and like putting it on Zero's forehead and like over her eyes a little bit. Because I know with like wounds like that, you can get a fever just because of the shock of it, just to try and fight the fever and get her to rest a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the consistent care and nurturing for an injury like that is more beneficial to you in the long run, which is good. I'm gonna say it probably gets to a point where it's like 8:30 at night, and like it's like no one's heard from Voyage at this point, and you guys have just been at the apothecary the entire time, tending to Zero, eventually cleaning up all the stuff that you guys had to use to do that. And it comes to a point where it's like, I'm gonna be so real, you guys are just like so fucked up.
Yeah.
You're so fucked up. Like, you two specifically are like cursed, like fully cursed. This is a full thing that happened. But it's also late as fuck.
Yep.
I think at this point, done most of what they can. Petunia doesn't really want to leave her, especially leave her like unattended to. But she can barely stand, honestly. So I think she'd just sending to Siobhan.
Mm-hmm.
It's alright, I'm never truly alone.
I'd say he was like falling asleep on a seat in the corner or something at this point.
I can see that. Head against the sink. Like, he's gonna have a huge imprint on his temple from where the basin's cracked into his head.
It'll be just a very simple. I don't know it's late, I'm sorry. There's been an incident. We're at the apothecary, please come down.
At least the first 5 or 6 words of the response are her just making noises as she wakes up, like, All right, darling, I'll be right there. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll be right there. And just really cuts off at the end. And about 5-10 minutes, give or take, she comes through the front door, like really bundled up because it's like still storming outside. She goes, and her eyes are barely open. She's like trying to hold on to whatever sleep she can. She goes, oh, what's happened? What's going on? What's going on?
We didn't all make it back in one piece. And just lead her back to where Zero is.
Walks into the room, sees the state of you, and it's just like, fucking blimey.
Yeah, we've done what we can provisionally, but...
Well, on a plus note, at least the wound's shut. I'm assuming that was... Looks at Hugle sleeping in the corner. Look, if you wanted to try and reattach it, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you just want me to make her comfortable, I can do that. That's fine. I don't know what else to do for her beyond that.
I don't know what to do.
And she kind of walks over and like puts an arm around you. As you both kind of look down and look at like Zeph sitting over Zero laying on the bed. It's one of the cruelest things having to do this in a town like ours. I saw so many people come through those doors that didn't walk out. And after the first 10, you just start to desensitize a little bit. I love everyone here and care for everyone here as if they were my own family, and I'll always do it to the end. But when they pass, it's just the way of things.
He's trying to sound like him.
He yelled a lot. It kind of just downloads into your brain, you know? It kind of just gets stuck there. But we can make her comfortable. give her some rehabilitation if she needs it. But what happens after that, she'll just have to make her own way and figure it out.
So what we've given her, and then she'll go into like a little breakdown of what's been administered and to try and get a more professional.
She pulls out a little notepad out of her apron and kind of like gets an itinerary of like what steps have been taken so she can further evaluate and go from there. And we'll say like as she begins to basically take over the night shift, you can go and wake Hugle up if there's any interaction there you want to do before she goes over to kind of pat you on the back, and she goes, I can take care of this, darling. You need to go home.
When she does that, Zeph looks even more sickly and the adrenaline has started to fade. And so you know how you get the shakes after you have like a lot of adrenaline pumping through you? They're just sitting there just shaking, and just eventually they'll get up without saying anything and walk over to Petunia and Hugle.
Forgetting entirely in the kerfuffle that doesn't work, she's going to try and cure wounds on you anyways.
Oh, damn it. Stop being so sweet. Makes me feel bad. Yeah, and Hugle's just passed out in the corner.
Fucking dragon.
Starts shadow boxing.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Zeph will just gently wake up Hugle and just go, there's some chocolate in the kitchen.
He floats along.
Like a little fucking Disney character.
I think it's time to go see the old crone. Is that how you pronounce it?
The crone,
The
yeah.
crone.
How late are we talking now?
How late? By this point, it's like probably like 8:30, 9 o'clock, give or take, within a half an hour.
Above the table question, how aware are, like, am I aware as a cleric what I can do the next day? Like, or like, I know I can...
Well, the thing is, as clerics, I believe words is written. Like, clerics preemptively plan their spells on a day-to-day basis because they have to pray to get them. So if you go, wait, there is something I can do, I just need to go through the motions of that ritual to get that ability, then yes, you could do that. I don't feel like... It's like dilly-dee and silly. It's like, did you just say a stat, good sir? That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's... I imagined I could. I just had that hit for a second. Hugo sort of says, like, I don't know if she'll be awake, but I can fix you both in the morning.
We can always stop by on the way and see if she is. Not. As she's like leaning on her staff to hold herself.
I'd rather know you're safe tonight. If she's up. Come on.
So are we heading to the crone's tent? Yeah. When you begin to walk out, again, the rain's just fucking hammering down. It's so hardcore. All the lights in the shantytown are off. There's no lanterns, you know, even the fireflies that fly around aren't there because the rain's just too ballistic. I would say just one of you three make a perception check for me, and it'll give you an idea if you can even see any movement in the village.
18. That's not even adding any of my shit. I'm not even going to worry about it.
Jesus Christ. Fucking gaudy fuck. It was like, look,
I can if you want me to.
I just know I see it all.
Okay. So, perception, you said?
Yeah.
So, that is a 27.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, see?
Fuck you. Hey, give me your phrases.
I love how you said see. See?
There's when you look even through all like the blistering rain and stuff, there's no one out. It's gotten so late by this point that everyone's just away. You could say for yourself, it's like, look, you could go and wake up this crone. You could just waltz in there and see, but everyone in that little shanty kind of village is definitely not available to the public right now.
Meals on wheels.
That's such a niche reference that only certain people will get. And
I'll
I
get
love
the
it.
geriatric up and going, 100%.
I think it might be safe just to go back to one of the houses and get some sleep. I think everyone else is done for the night.
First thing in the morning, you're both sitting through a ritual.
You wake up to 100 candles around you and, and a smudge stick jammed down your throat. All right, you're like strapped to a pentagram.
Where am I?
Oh, don't strap me too hard.
Wow, Monica. Wow, Monica.
I've hung out with this one for a whole fucking week.
I have to go through and rewrite a whole bunch of shit from the beginning of campaign 2 now because I'm frightened. Do you understand how that makes me feel?
No.
Did you think about me?
No, I didn't.
Just accept
I
that
don't
campaign
care.
2 is going to
He
be...
doesn't think about me, you don't think about me.
Campaign 2 is going to be comedy. You
Yeah.
ready for that?
Oh, yeah, you say this now.
Keep whatever you've written for campaign 2 and let me add to it.
It's a collaborative story.
Yes,
Here's the plan. When he falls asleep at night, I will type it into his notes.
Just
and he
give me
won't be
his
able to
time.
tell the
He's like, I
difference.
don't remember that, but I guess.
Slow.
I
How
must
dare
have
you.
fucking done so good last night.
This is the fun of it when your boyfriend plays in your game. How good's that? Okay, so village is a no-go. By this point, the only person in all of Potts Hollow that's awake besides you lot is Siobhan. And like even by this point, Rose definitely, you would have heard like a as she like walked upstairs and shut the door and locked herself away for the night. So you guys begin to move back. Where do you want to go? You want to go? Are we going to Petunia's house? We're going to the branch residence. What are we doing?
Following Petunia.
I think she's gonna go back to her mum.
Mm-hmm. And you guys trot along, walking up the way to the house on the hill. The Haunting of Hill House. And it is a good show. And the front door, again, I believe it was someone said the Canadian ideals of this village that no one locks their doors and windows. Particular someone. I'm just waiting for one Canadian person to get in the comments and be like, hey!
That's true.
That's true.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Very politely worded comment too.
Yeah, fuck you, Shorzy. And you guys open through. You can smell like the like that lingering odor of like a put out fire, candle wicks that have been snuffed probably in the last half hour, 45 minutes, give or take. Do they hear anything as far as?
No, there's just a track of 2 sets of muddy footprints right through the house.
If it makes you feel any better, it's technically 6, 2,
Yeah.
4, which is even better. Maybe a couple of like splatters of like just gore and muscle from these 2 rib bones that you Fred Flintstone out of this thing's rib cage. But yeah, you guys are in the home. It's dead silent. You don't find your mum, so it seems that she has gone to bed. But I will turn it over to the rest of you now that you're home. What do you want to do?
Hugo going to very like caringly be like, you two, get some rest. If anything seems strange, call me. Just shout out. I'll be up shortly. And he goes and gets a mop and starts cleaning up the muddy footprints.
Yeah, Zeph will take their boots off before going inside.
But we'll also follow them
There's a mud
to
room for a
whichever
reason.
room Voyage is in, and just a light.
There's no immediate response, but you can hear like the shuffling of movement inside. But it doesn't sound like dogs' boisterousness. It's just one pair of footprints. Of footsteps.
I'm guessing with my passive insight and how obviously grumpy you were, I would have picked up on.
Oh yeah.
I'm here if you need to talk. And just leaves it at that. And he'll go down and sort of make a tea and clean up a little bit. And give it a little bit of time to see if Voyage comes down. Before then going to bed.
What about the other 2?
I feel like Zeph would do their best to help Petunia get into one of the bedrooms and stuff, because Petunia got hit a lot more than Zeph did, and so they'd be a lot more exhausted than Zeph.
Hugo made sure both of you were in bed before he went off and did the other stuff.
But yeah, Zeph would definitely help Petunia. Sort of like they're both kind of leaning on each other, but Zeph's trying to take more of the brunt. So.
Why Petunia?
I should just follow with them. There's barely any energy left. And once she gets put into bed, just kind of fights sleep for as long as she can to just listen to the sounds of the house and make sure nothing else goes wrong.
Spooky.
Before eventually falling asleep, because
Jesus, my bad.
It's one thing after another in this place.
I know. God, I can't do any work here.
Tell the Wanderer to get his shit together.
Now.
He's in the shadows.
And you potter around the house, clean up the mud trail, basically mopping all the way to the door.
Just does aggressive mop slapping against the door.
In that, say, 20 minutes, would Voyage come down? Or,
No. But you hear after a while that the footsteps kind of stop, but there's no, like, sounds of someone sitting down or anything like that. It's almost like, depending on how good your passive perception is, it's like someone's walked up to the window and you're just kind of standing there.
Yeah, well, after a little while, same thing. Any candles he'd lit, blow out, make his way back up to the bed with Petunia, and sort of get himself into bed and just lie there, just like watching over until he would eventually fall asleep.
You fight it for as long as you can, I would think. I think you sit there and like you're sitting there, you can feel your eyes getting heavy, you're like slapping yourself trying to stay awake. Yeah, well, I've been there, man, I feel you. And you're just like, no, I have to stay awake, I've got to stay awake. Like, what if something else happens? And it's like literally midway through there, like, what if? And you fucking just cannot keep yourself awake anymore, and you end up slumping into the bed next to Petunia. Because you're basically still awake, so before we do that, I want to quickly jump back to you, Zero. In the moment when you're unconscious, in this instance, I don't have anything I think I'd want to add to that. What do you think would be passing behind her eyes in a state of unconsciousness? It could be a dream, a memory. It could be like one of those, the last episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion, where it's just existential fucking dread.
I thought the episode
peeps,
was going.
All my real peeps know what's up with how bad that episode 24 was.
I think in a bid to, almost like a bit of her subconscious to try and comfort her, it would try to reach for a memory from a more peaceful time, but there's that wall there and it can't grab it because it's obviously from a time before she remembers, and it's just that constant push trying to grab something, coming back with nothing, and it would just be like edging for comfort. It'd kind of be like kind of redlining for but it would kind of be like almost like trying to like redline for that comfort and never quite receiving it.
Yeah, I feel like if we were to look at it on a visual standpoint, it's Zero, very in the first Matrix movie when Neo first gets plugged in to like those training programs, and he's got his hair back and he's different. He goes, "This is the projection of you, that you see yourself in this other world." It's you in like just like your pants and a blouse. You don't have your arms, you don't have your leathers. It's just the simplest, most comfortable form of you. Have both your arms, your hair's down, all that sort of stuff. You don't even have your glasses on. You don't need them in this reality because it's not your true comfort self. Like when you do decompress into your little bubble, you don't have to wear all your gear,
Yeah.
And it's just this huge wall of inky blackness. And it's like you're touching it and you're watching it like like you're reaching for that thing that for some reason it's eating at you. You're like, I know there's something beyond what I remember, but I can't get to it and I don't know what to do. And then you think back to that, the memory recall that you had with the Wanderer, which is the day that Sal died. And the Wanderer turning your head out the window and seeing that wall of inky blackness that you've seen before, where there's obvious cuts and missing parts from your mental, just your memory. And I think in that moment, as you stand there trying to figure out, it's like one of those things. It's like, I don't know what I'm reaching for, but I know I must reach for it.
Knowing that there's a wall there
Yeah.
that she can like physically touch, it would probably actually start to piss her off. Like she'd be so frustrated. She'd probably just start punching at it and pulling at it, trying to like make a dent or something like that, or even shatter the illusion. I think she'd be getting quite aggressive and upset because she's already in a state of helplessness, because she's like, I'm a gunslinger. Like my whole shtick is I need both my hands. And even though I stand here now with both my arms, I know that that's not my reality right now. And she's feeling quite helpless at the moment. And then she comes into this space where she's meant to feel comfort, and she's trying to reach for it, and she can't even get that in her own mind palace. And so she's just feeling frustrated and very weak at the moment, and it's really getting to her.
I think you can feel a set of eyes like drilling into the back of your head. And if you were to turn around beyond the fucking void, like just the endless void, it's you and this inky wall. You can just see this 12.5-foot tall, elongated ear, like the white pale face of the Wanderer in like his well-pressed suit and his big hat and stuff. And he kind of just stands there with his arms crossed, and he's so far away that it's like, you can't read any expression on his face, but he's close enough for you to know that he's sitting there, and there's like a feeling of pity. And I'll get you to roll an insight for me, and I'll get him to roll something stupid.
Ooh, nice. Insight it was, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll see if I can get even better. No. That's going to be a 25.
With a 25, you look at him from this distance, and it's not the fact that you can't see his face that you read, it's the way he stands. And the only reason you recognize it is because that's exactly how you stood when Ayaka was throwing one of his tantrums, smashing his room to pieces, not a couple of weeks after Sal's death. That's the stance of somebody that wants to try and offer some form of comfort, but they know no matter what they say, it's going to be the wrong thing. So they don't say anything at all, which is a feeling that you're probably all too familiar with.
I think she won't say anything, but on several occasions while she's chucking the tantrum, she'll kind of like, it's very like quick and chaotic, but she keeps like looking back to him, and a couple of times she even like gestures to the wall as if to silently say like, fucking do something. Like, can't you just fucking do something? Can't you just fix my issue here? Or even just like give me a fragment. And when he doesn't move or anything like that, she just goes back to smashing it and pulling at it, and that's literally all she does.
And that's all it shall be until the next morning. We'll go back to, actually, you two specifically. I actually don't think you guys would dream. I think for you, it would just be you close your eyes, you fall into unconsciousness, and it's just bile and stomach acid and rotting flesh, and it's just, you're like, oh man, this is that perpetuity of evil beyond my understanding. I think for you guys, considering we seem to have a dream-heavy campaign, so there seems to be something. And you know that it's like, you watched it die, you watched it fall apart in front of you, you know Catharax is dead, but something of his still exists inside your essence, and it leaves you frightened, I would think. Now we'll go to you, because you're still awake. You've been standing at the window for fuck knows how long by this point. Don't even know if you've blinked.
I'd just like to interject and add this as possibly a really nice cinematic moment.
Go for it.
That I imagine's kind of gone down. As the last frustrated punch or hit against that black wall lands, there's a violent snapping sound of wood splintering.
Oh no. Here we go. Is this the thing that you told me you were going to do?
Yeah.
Fuck me, now I've got to change shit. Fuck! Woo!
I love a good cinematic transition. That shit bops.
Oh my god, it's very arcane where the impact frames swap between certain shots.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's bang!
Season 2 soon. Can't wait. That dates this episode. I'm sorry, Seb.
We always date these episodes. I think half the memes date these episodes.
Yeah.
Try and see if I can find it.
Guys, we're like 8 weeks ahead of our production. If you haven't figured
Season
that
2
out
of
by
Arcane
That'll be
is
the one.
so good. Yeah. Bye.
I still gotta get you those.
Sexy.
I still gotta get you those dice. Fuck. Okay, I'll fucking write this. I hate the fact that I smile when I'm nervous. It makes me look like a psychopath.
Well, you are, so.
What?
Nothing.
I know where you live, where?
Yes, we are here.
There is a moment of complete and utter silence. And inside, I'm not liking that fucking music. We're gonna go back to what it was. There we go. That's more my speed. A slight breeze begins to filter in like a draft, is pulling air in rather than siphoning it out. And you begin to hear like a rattling sound. Some small items shaking as the air begins to swirl and warp around you. The glass window that you're standing in front of begins to rattle, and the shakes start as like these minor little rumbles and start turning into super violent vibrations that begin to expand out from this one room of this burrow into the entire house. So at this point, everyone in the same home is awoken to the sound of like falling cups and like glasses shattering, things beginning to rattle, photo frames falling off the wall, just like an erratic shaking. And this air begins to create a vortex around you. As it's going to be such a niche reference because I think I was one of the only few people that like stuck to the game. But did anyone play Doom Eternal at all? There's a sequence where the Doomslayer kills an angel and there is a cosmic voice that screams through the clouds, and it's just like, like I can't do it because I'm not that cool. But it's like that. In your ears, inside this rushing vortex, you just begin to hear this cacophonous sound of like hundreds of thousands of like voices in common, draconic, even some like other more colloquial languages that just begin to scream, like your ears begin to ring. You can't even hear. It's like you've been ear clapped, so all of a sudden you just can't hear anymore. And the only reason you know there's wind rushing around is you can feel it, right? Your arm begins to like violently contort and shake, the arm with all the tattoos on it, and in that instance, the red scales peel off, and Dog like kind of like forcefully is ejected out. But when he hits the ground, he has a look of like pain, like something really bad's happening. As the two pieces of the bow are cracking and the bits that like have splintered, the twine goes loose and the splinters are hitting the floor, but then they're getting caught by the wind fragments and picking up. What's going through Voyage's mind at this exact moment?
It's the pure anger and frustration of what's occurred. It's, sure, this dragon's dead, but what other stupid mission are you going to fucking send me on and give me no assistance with?
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to accept any more. Fuck this bow.
Yeah. There's like a bit of a as the air builds up, and it's just a fucking as it like shoots out. Except normally, like with explosions and concussive forces, it's a and it goes out. Except this one goes out. You watch all the loose glass and the window shatter out, and then begin to come back in towards you. The glass window erupts outwards and then inwards, the glass flying through the air, like literally at the fraction of a second. And as the thousands of like tiny minuscule glass daggers fly towards you, is there a final thought that passes through your head before the glass does?
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Maybe not inside the house.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm not even gonna... I'll just see what happens. This is fun for me. They roll exceptionally well every time.
Fuck. Shouldn't have sourced them.
My crockery!
You take 21 points of piercing damage, which I'm not sure where your health's at this point, so it's probably not ideal, but...
Is this shit happening in other rooms? And like, is the whole house getting fucked up? Or
the whole house is getting shaken, shit's falling off, but that explosion was stuck in that room. The vortex of glass fragments like swirl around you, like hundreds or thousands of tiny jagged points slicing through your skin to the high heavens and back. Are you up or are you down?
I didn't get hit last combat.
Oh, so you're okay. Well, it still sucks. That's 21 points of damage. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm all good.
So tickle.
There's a ringing in your ears, which at first you mistake for like the shattering of windows and glass, and then you realize it's actually the glass fragments like hitting your horns at like breakneck speeds and like shattering to smaller splinters of glass. The lacerations up your arms, your neck, your face begin to burn when the cold air from the raging storm and the water pours in. You feel the blood running down your face and your arms, like the dripping of the floor, or the rhythmic dripping of the blood on the floor is drowned out by the glass storm that you find yourself in. And your head aches as you can feel your skull like kind of like snapped backwards with like it's kind of like when you get punched in the forehead. I know a lot of people here don't know what that feels like, but I do, and it sucks. Your head's forced backwards by a heavy blow, and your eyes are able to glance up long enough to see that like this huge shard of glass has basically just gone and like wedged itself like directly into one of your horns. You can pick which one for flavor. And your eyes are like blinking around rapidly. You're looking, like you glance out the window, you glance at the door behind you, you glance at Dog who's still writhing on the floor looking for any sign of help. When there's your vision is cut in half as a stray glass fragment wedges itself into your left eye. The blood streaming down your skin reminds you that as much as this is possibly the worst pain you've ever felt in your life, you're still alive, unfortunately. Anyone outside, which is basically all you guys in the house, you're too far away so you wouldn't hear any of this because you're at the other end of town. So you're just having a nice little fucking snooze.
No, my mum senses kick in. I was already there in front of the glass to take the hit.
Could you imagine looking out and just seeing Zero like the fucking ring girl in the rain?
Yeah.
It'd be fucking horrific. Oh, God.
One arm.
Hey, I'll allow it. That's what you want.
Yeah, stand over the boat, you're picking on my boy.
It's the boyish scream of someone being caught in the shower naked.
Yeah.
Of half the boat.
Has this been audible for all of us to hear?
It's been audible, but this is literally happening in like the fucking fraction of a second. So you guys can have a moment to like get up and try to do some interactions, but he's got more that's going to happen to him well before you guys can get into that room. It's like the fucking tree exploding from Calamity.
With a big shake and wake up, Hugle is instantly casting Sanctuary on Petunia and would start rushing to the door to see what's going on.
She's following.
When you rush down the hall, does anyone wake Zeph up to get them?
Oh no, Zephyr's awake.
You're already
Zephyr's
out?
doing the elder sibling thing. Cover goes off immediately, starts running down the hallway. Like when the kids start doing like random shit and then they hear a thud and then
Yeah,
Stop fucking around in there!
when you throw the teddy, but it's got the glass eyeballs.
Yeah, those bitches hurt.
Yeah.
When you guys all like converge in the hallway and you like start trying to grab the door, it's like the handle goes down. It wasn't locked, and you go to pull it, but the suction of the fucking vortex is like, and it's like keeping the door shut. So no matter how hard you try to pull it, there is nothing you can do. What's up?
I'll say I don't think it would help much, but Petunia's going to cast Spirit Guardians just to have the kind of barrier between three of us and whatever might be on the other side of the room.
I feel like it's like watching two different arcs of energy meeting each other in the middle. So the Spirit Guardians are kind of like pressed up against the wall, but there's almost like this weird fucking shell that like exudes from the wall. So you're like, oh fuck, this is like a magical explosion. Something bad's happened.
Hugle will grab his necklace, eyes will roll into gold, and the little golden eyes of the necklace will sort of sheen, and clairvoyance to see what's happening in that room.
Oh, buddy.
I can't get in there, but I can see what's happening.
You will have a front row seat for what is to come. Anyone outside for a moment can hear only the thunderous rain hammering down on this quaint village, but the whirling blender of broken glass begins to permeate the air, especially as you guys get closer. The roar of howling winds beyond what the storm brings makes its way now into like the audible party, like the party's ears. In the light of the tremendous task that you all undertook and the losses that came because of it, seeing what is happening, I guess for you, because you can kind of describe it to them as it's happening.
I'd be saying...
Seeing what's happening before you feels almost like a divine punishment. Your friend, your brother, to one of you, almost a son, is being shredded to pieces in front of your very eyes. As that exact same moment, the vortex of whirling glass, you're lucky because you can see it, but you're not there, shoots outwards in like a final explosion. So you guys on the opposing side see where like bits of glass like hit through the door, and thankfully there's like spirit guardians and stuff there.
Question.
Yeah.
Am I able to healing word? Because it says a creature of your choice you can see within range. Would be within 60 feet, and I can see him through clairvoyance, but I don't know how that works through walls. Your call. Also, story-wise, your call is whether you think that something can even help or do anything right now.
I don't know how much that'll help.
I'll allow it. Sure.
So that is a... Which one was going to do? Do I have any... Yeah, 4th level healing word.
So you feel some of those lacerations begin to close up.
12 points.
Nice. Voyage, there is a breath and there is a heartbeat. It's yours, but it also feels strangely foreign. You come out of your haze, the glass still in your eye, and in your horn, the lacerations up your body bleeding freshly, even though some of them have begun to close. You look around and see your surroundings in disarray. There's items scattered everywhere. Your arrows strewn across the floor. The bow just shattered. That like soft glow that it had is now gone. It's just innate. It's mundane. What's the thought process of Voyage at this moment?
It's just a moment of satisfaction as he looks at the broken bow. Even though he knows damn well he can only see out of one eye right now. It's almost an almost satisfied moment. Like, fuck you. Fuck you for what you did. Fuck you for what's occurred. Fucking, this is proof you're not gods.
Oof.
But in looking, he knows he didn't summon Dog. He knows the tattoos are gone. So he then looks to where Dog is supposed to have appeared.
Yeah. You look over and see Dog, and he's still bent over and he's writhing on the floor. The whimpering sounds that are coming out of his mouth. It's not like any sound you've heard him make before. And the sound of tearing that follows next is also a new sound to you. It's the ripping of meat at a frequency you don't think you've ever heard before in your life, even in a butcher shop or skinning animals with your dads. His scaled back kind of lurches, and with this like deep set and most like sickening wet sound you've ever heard, the spines on his back begin to one by one, like almost like Lego pieces begin to go as they begin to split and crack open like a fleshy egg. His red wings fold over instantly in that break and just fall limp. There's no muscle, there's no ligament, there's no sinew now keeping them operating, so they just go limp and like kind of curl up a little bit like a dead spider. And this like red and blackened ichor like flows from this opening wound. It's like a busted zip seam just opening up as like his body begins to shed and break. Kind of like when snakes and lizards shed their skin, but in this way he's shedding like full layers of muscle and sinew. He's not a summon anymore. There's some weird like physical manifestation here, which is stemmed from it. The last sound he lets out is like this, like, and you guys hear it too from beyond the door. It's this like aggressive, really deep set roar of pain and like almost like anger as this weird adjusted form of dog basically births itself from the skin and muscle of its previous form. Do you want to describe what he looks like now?
Large.
Yeah, he's big. He's big, big,
Large.
big, big, big.
Black dragon. That cuddly exterior the dog had, the round face, the excitable behavior. There's not anything left of that anymore. There is not. It is just this small black dragon. Young, if you will.
The old shell slumps to the floor with like a wet thud and begins to deteriorate. His new form's kind of like still clinging to his old self. Like the old armor you made for him is still like fucking barely hanging on. It's all like loose straps and shit that are kind of like stuck to this because, you know, he kind of like burst out. So like it's attempted to fit and it can't really go anywhere, but it's like kind of like fucking ill-fitting for him. And his like bright green eyes are darting around the room and meet you in your one good eye. And on a passive insight, there's a pain behind his eyes, which you can see in a multitude of animals. You can tell an animal's demeanor by what their eyes portray. In this one, you can just see this like roiling anger and hatred as this black dragon snarls at you with like this reckless abandon, like this like slimy, like acidic fucking bile drilling out of his mouth. Like there's anger and hate there. It's definitely still dog, but it's not him at the same time. Something's different. Something's wrong. But he like, there's a moment where like, look, he's fucking way bigger compared to you now. Like it's kind of like, it's like the old little red dog was like a TARDIS, and then the fucking big black dragon version of dogs like kind of like clawed his fucking way out of like a horror game. And his like wings are like scraping the roof. There's like like lines fucking of talons in the ceiling, and like one hand kind of goes up and like shoves you a little bit. You know, like I have dogs like paw at people to get their attention, except this one he's being really aggressive about it. It's just like hits you and you kind of like fling back into the fucking wall a bit. At the end of the day, as much as he hates you, and there's something that's riding on him now that makes him want to hate you, he still must listen to you, because at the end of the day, he's still yours. You are still a ranger of the Drake. He is still your summon. He must listen to you, regardless of if he wants to or not.
Voyage meets the anger with anger.
Mm.
After being poured out and shoved back, he just closes the distance again, reaches up, grabs for one of the horns that would have formed on the side of his head.
Yeah, be like fucking like those.
Pulls it down and just snarls back in a purely feral way. Almost in a push to show the pecking order in this instance.
Yeah, shit. Oh, that would even be a thing I think you would have to roll for, because at the end of the day, you made him, he is yours. There's this fucking tense moment of sound, and you guys are all hearing this on the outset of the door. You hear like this, like just scraping and this fucked up destruction, and the snarling, and we go with like the camera pans back through the door to you two, kind of having this stare down, and in this really aggressive kind of way, because they got black dragons kind of have like longer necks, they're not as thick and meaty in the mid region. He slumps his neck around, throws you up onto his back in like this kind of saddle thing, and like kind of gives his shoulders a shake, and you watch as his head turns to the window and like, hey, you better fucking hold on because I'm leaving whether you like it or not. Is there anything you say? Is there anything you do? At this point, you guys know that the kind of pull on the door is open, so if you guys want to quickly jump in and try and see what's happening before.
I feel like it'd be one of those moments where the door opens slowly and they're all standing there, and then I'll leave the rest to you.
As he's thrown into position on the back of the new dog, there is a command. It is nothing but a command made in pure frustration and anger. One stop, then we're going to the mountains. We're stopping at the apothecary. Glances back, sees the three of them all kind of standing there, steels himself in that moment, and gives Dog the command to go.
Leans back, legs press into the wood. I'll be so real. It just tears your fucking mother and father's house to pieces. You duck and hold on as he just goes out through the dirt and fucking timber goes everywhere. Just fucking goes out. You begin getting fucking blistered by the storm as he sails up into the air and scoots around and banks. And it's like, at his speed, he would just land there in about, like, fucking 30 seconds flat. And there's a very hard, like, thumping as he, like, you know, I mean, he's still got to get used to his size. And he, like, kind of hits the deck and, like, leans down and you jump off. I would actually think at that moment, you get awoken to, like, that fucking huge banging out the front. And how does Zero wake up? Does she, like, shoot upright? Or is it a very slow fucking process?
She... Because of the volume of it, it would be that instant panic because they've just come back from defeating a dragon. She would like sit up so fast that she'd be seeing double and she'd be getting vertigo. She starts to break out into a sweat of panic. She starts looking around and like she even like would probably knock over a few jars doing it. She's looking for a pepper box. If this is another dragon, she's gonna open fucking fire at a moment's notice.
They're definitely on like a seat. So like, or like your duster and your poncho and all that, your poncho and your hat and stuff are all fucking like laid out next to you. And your pepper boxes are kind of like sitting on like the tool belt with all your quick load ammo. So you're able to like quickly reach across with your one good arm and pull one of the pepper boxes out. And Siobhan's just like, darling, you can't be up and walking about as you just proceed to walk out, I'm assuming.
Yeah, she'll literally like turn to her and like this dazed, sweaty like look, and she'll just say, "Are your ears fucking working?" And then like as if to say like, "Did you not fucking hear that?" And then she will like immediately go to exit the apothecary.
And that's where you two will come face to face, and I will put it to you two specifically what happens next.
As you're about to reach the door, it opens outwards and Voyage is standing there.
When you open the door, there you are staring down the barrel of a pepper box.
6 barrels.
Yeah. And like her shoulders are like moving with her erratic breath. And when she sees that it's you, the like arm just like falls limp and she like uses the sweat to move the hair out of her face. And she just like looks at you expectantly for like a, are we attacking again? Like, are we going to battle? Is that what you're here for? Like, kind of like expression on her face.
From all the frustration and anger that was coming through before that you guys witnessed, there's still that pinch. And one eye's shut. As shut as it can be with a piece of glass sticking out of it. But he walks up and he goes, "No, come on, back to bed." And he begins to drag you back to what he assumes was probably where you were set up from the odd little visit. And it's that slow movement of beginning to guide your way. He's not explaining why he looks like he does. He's not explaining the green eyes behind him outside. He's just guiding you further inside.
Zero, honestly, at this point, is chalking this up to, like, almost a fever dream. And in an act of, like, doing before thinking, she just sees that something is sticking out of your eye, and instinctively she drops the pepper box and reaches over and yanks it out.
No!
There's a very guttural sound of fucking pain.
I'm gonna do the thing that I do, which is mitigate rolls for really cool shit. I'm gonna need you to make a con save against her, your save DC for like your gunslinger stuff. We'll do it as that.
Make an eye saving throw.
Basically, we're seeing if he can. His body will let the eyeball stay in and the glass come out. Or
That's
if the eye
right, because
comes
I don't
with
have
it.
a second hand to hold it in, and it's just a...
You're like, hold still.
His face.
Well, she just sees that there's kind of something sticking out of his eye, and she's all like, "Oh, that can't be too comfortable," and just goes, to yank it out.
I was a great mother.
What?
Can I elect to fail this roll?
Sure.
I need to rub my eyes. They're both there.
When she pulls it out, and because like it's one of those things. I don't know if you guys have ever done this. Quick tangent. There was one time where I was like so inebriated after several beers that I went to like lock the padlock lock on my door. And because, like, I was so drunk, I didn't realise my own strength. I put the key in, and it was like soft butter when I turned it, and it just
broke the
snapped
fucking-
straight off.
See, beers make you tough. Like, they do, man.
And I was looking at it like,
Drink responsibly.
yeah, drink responsibly. And I feel like it's one of those moments where, like, she's just so, like, tired and unwell and feverish that she doesn't mitigate the force or the pressure of her hand, and she does just pull it out, and then she sees something follow in what she's pulled, but it's the snap of the optical nerve, and then she lets it fall into her hand, and she just immediately does that, and it drops, and she just like, it's almost like a silent scream, like her mouth opens but nothing comes out. And she quickly looks to Voyage to see, like, was that actually a fucking eyeball? Was that actually your fucking eyeball?
There's an empty socket there in the grimace of pain. But he's steeled himself in this moment. And he's got one arm around you, the other slowly takes the extended one. Come on. Back to bed, Mom.
As he, like, guides her, she's, like, looking at, like, his blood on her hand and, like, keeps going to say something but nothing comes out. And then she just starts, like, mumbling, like, "This must be a bad dream. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare." And she, like, even looks over her shoulder and sees the eyeball and glass, like, on the floor. And she just gets even more pale, and she just vomits all down the front of herself. Like, she's seen this stuff before, but the fact that she's basically, like, pulled the eyeball out of the head of, like, someone that she sees as her son is just, it's giving her Ayaka this whole thing, like his demeanor,
flashbacks.
yeah, like everything is just taking her back to a very vulnerable headspace, and she just can't believe that this is happening. And like her arm that she like keeps like, she's slowly like being guided by Voyage, but she just like is touching your face where the eye is missing, because she just can't believe that she just pulled your eyeball out of your head. Like, she refuses to believe it.
After, well, once eventually he finds the spot you seem to have been set up in, he sits you down. He makes sure to lay you on your side, surprisingly.
She lays down very well and flat.
Nope.
There's nothing that
intrudes. Up on the side, on the good arm. Because you just fucking chundered, and he's dealt with solace drinking too much to know well enough that you lay someone who's chundering on their side.
Yeah, Siobhan instantly sees the vomit trail, and it's just like, I got woken up for this. And then what goes proceeds to get like hot water to clean the vomit. But
finds an eye in the mix.
It's just
there's
staring up.
There's an audible shriek. But it's like super quiet because the doors are shut.
Yeah. she is sitting there just like looking so out of touch with reality, but also mortified at the same time.
There's just this gentle, like, petting of their hair and their head, and a few quiet words of, I'm going away for a little while. You're not to follow me. Because I can't bear this constant rule you set where you take the pain for everything. Not anymore. Don't follow me. I'll make sure Val knows that we survived. I'm telling him you've lost an arm. He's going to be mad. We're both coming back in pieces. But I will be back soon. Don't follow me. And that anger slowly seeps back in that statement.
At this point, I think with her only, I was going to say her only good arm. She's only got a arm. Yeah. I was going to take a whole minute to get used to.
The other arm, the bad arm, is in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
The bagger.
She's just crying profusely, and her hand is like on the side where she took the glass shard out, and she's just almost like a little broken windscreen wiper is just trying to continuously wipe the blood that keeps just coming from your eye socket. And it's almost like hovering there, goes back to touching you, and what you're saying, she can hear what you're saying, but at this point in time, it's not fully processing. She just feels like so, she's still hung up on the fact that she's just pulled your eyeball out of your head, and she can't move past it. And like, she keeps going to apologize, and it's coming out like in bits and pieces. And she like just keeps going, you can't go anywhere like this. Look at you. Look at you, Voyage. You need to be careful. Oh my God. And she's just losing it over the fact that you are missing a fucking eye.
Yeah. He just keeps shutting her down, reassuring, I'm fine. It's okay. It's the pure shock of the moment. He's just not.
Yeah, riding that
functioning.
shockwave. Yeah.
It's just the reassurance. It's okay. You can stop that. He physically removes her hand. Probably 2 or 3 times because she fights him.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's be real here. But eventually he gets her hand away long enough to set the bird pipes in it. I need you to hold on to these until I'm back. Take care of them for me. He's hoping to all gods this is an adequate distraction to get out of your reach, really.
I think it's like one of those things, almost, if you would allow, where Zero like looks at them and it takes her, she thinks it's only a brief moment in time, but it takes her so long to like register like, this motherfucker's put like bird pipes in my hand, what the, and she's like looking at it and like, but she looks like very blank and confused. And then, if you would allow it, it takes her so long that when she looks up to protest, Voyage is no longer there.
That is correct.
Do you just walk straight outside,
Back on the dog's back.
mount up?
In one swift movement. Gone. Mind you, he did take the ribs.
Oh,
He's
still
got
the
them.
ribs.
He's got them.
I think it's when you walk out back into the rain, like he's like hunched over looking like a fucking menace. And when you go to like, it's like you grab one of his back spines to step up and he gives you like a really fucking like aggro fucking shake and you like stumble a little bit on his back.
There's this draconic snarl of fuck around some more and find out what happens next.
Fuck you.
As you go to take off, all you can see in the rain no shoes on,
Oh
nothing.
no!
It's just
No!
a stumbling Zeph, completely freaking out. And they're tripping on rocks and shit. And they just see this big dragon, but they keep trying to sprint as fast as they can. And the rain joins with their tears.
Oh.
And they are freaking the fuck out, crying hysterically because their brother is fucking leaving without saying goodbye.
Yeah. Fuck you.
And when you go to fly away, all you see is Zeph just break down and just slump to the fucking ground. Anyway.
What it looks like, what I think it looks like is you can, because you've got range of sense. Like your whole thing is about hearing inconsistencies in the earth when something environmentally is happening. I did wipe my fucking eyes. Fuck you. Fuck you, monster big dude.
Don't worry, I've got some tears too. I'm just trying to hold them back.
It's you hear the rain, you're like, that noise doesn't match the rhythm, and you turn and you look and you can see Zeph just fucking attempting to sprint as fast as they can down the thing, and before you even get the opportunity to kind of shout out or say something, Dog begins that like fucking running sprint where like he has to run on all fours to gain momentum to get up in the air. There is a moment where you can shout something and say something if you wish. If you think Voyage will be taken in that moment and he wouldn't say anything, I respect that too, but I'll leave it to you.
There's 2 words.
Mm-hmm.
Very quietly, very faintly. And I don't even know if you speak this language. Do I? But it's almost that piece of shit knowing thing from one person who knows about the Fae to another. Technically it's Sylvan on here, but feel free to tell me otherwise.
No, because Sylvan is the language of the Fae, so that would make sense.
It's just these words. Be good.
Do you speak Sylvan? You don't. I think you speak out in this language that you've never heard before. But the way, what he says to you, what Voyage says to you, and how he says it, even through the thundering rain, you know that no matter how many times you close your eyes and how many times you wake up and go about the next day and the next day and the next day after that, you will never forget what he said and you'll never forget how he said it. And one day you will be able to know what it means. You know, like you won't let that happen.
Yeah.
And then with that, unless there's anything else to add,
Deuces.
Voyage.
Voyage will receive a sending. I'm always here if you need to talk. That's it.
Hang on.
Call me again.
Don't touch yourself.
In the rain.
No, in the rain.
It's a perfect 10 grams.
Sorry. Fuck, I was so ready to give that response. But I can't. It's a serious moment.
You can elect not to respond.
No, give me a moment. I wasn't ready for a sending.
I imagine Hugle was just at that broken window and he's probably watched you go and land and then take off again from the top of the hill. And watching you fly off, just, yeah.
You have someone else you need to worry about right now. Don't worry about me. I will be back soon. Don't message me again.
He messaged...
Yeah, the fuck I won't!
Try to stop me, motherfucker.
You got counterspell? Oh, that's why you can't.
That's where he leaves it.
The dragon, the beating wings of Dog. is eventually lost to the clouds. And the silhouette just fades. And Voyage, a Drakewater Ranger, is gone. For an unforeseeable amount of time.
Well, fuck you!
What?
Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye, have a good time. What does the rest of the party do?
Cry.
You gonna go dip out? You wanna take your lapel off?
Yep.
Yeah. Fully commit to the bit.
I'll be taking these.
What?
Your dice.
Yeah, right. You can borrow them for a little while.
Yeah, see what happens. And then another dragon shows up. Roll for initiative.
I just need to leave.
Yeah, he'll be back in like 2 seconds.
Hear the car turn on and leave.
I'm gonna just move that.
A foam board fell over.
3 things happened tonight.
It's haunted tonight.
Yeah.
It always comes in 3s. Does Zeph come into the apothecary after that?
So Zeph would probably be right outside the apothecary, and I feel like it's one of those cries where they're trying not to be too loud, but it's the open mouth silent wail. Because they've been traveling with Voyage for a while, and Voyage was essentially the first thing to bring them out of their comfort zone. But after no more tears can be shed and the burning of their throat starts to worsen, they'll eventually go in and what was her name again? Siobhan. And they'll go into where Siobhan is, because I feel like they might still be like tight.
Siobhan has, by this point, mopped up the vomit and is actually, regardless of your catatonic state or protest, has proceeded to get you out of a vomit-stained shirt and just put like a normal white shirt on you to give you something clean to sleep in.
Yeah, after she does get changed, Zero like comes to her senses a bit more, and like when Zeph does come in, it's just Zero sitting on the floor in the main foyer, and she's kind of like got her legs like sort of half crossed, and she's like hunched over, and like her good arm is just sitting in her lap, and like the eyeball is just sitting in her hand. And when she looks up at Zeph coming in, she is crying so profusely and so messily that this is the first time like Zero looks like a child lost in a supermarket. Like she's like blubbering, and like she just doesn't know what to do. And she just almost looks to Zeph with this desperate need for answers of like, you know, did you like, almost as if to say like, oh, were you able to intervene? Like, did you stop him? Like almost like that desperate small thread of hope.
Like, please tell me the thing that I want to hear, so that it fixes it. Yeah.
Yeah, when Zeph walks in and sees that and sees that kind of question in your eye, they just shake their head and start crying again.
Zero also just like her head just like drops with just lost. Like it's done. Like there's nothing. It's over. He's gone. That's the new reality, and the new reality fucking sucks. And she just also starts up again.
Forgive me for being so bold as to say so, but I think in this instance, I feel like you two would stay together. And in my brain, I've got this very clear cinematic moment where it's Zero goes back to lie in her bed, and then Zeph tries to like get comfy in one of those like really crappy dad chairs that they have in the fucking hospital that's just like not comfy at all, and it ends up just being Zeph and Zero crammed onto like this tiny little bed, because it's like the only real comfort they have right now is each other.
Yeah, Zero would just like lay there and like with her only arm, she kind of like opens up the blanket to encourage Zeph to come and lay with her, and it'll be very similar to how she held Val when they were mourning Ayaka. And she'll pull Zeph into her chest and try to move past her own despair for the moment and try to soothe Zeph's.
Is there anything you would like to add for Zeph before we move on into the morning?
I think that's fitting.
Siobhan silently leaves and in that instance will put herself up in the quarters for like the people that were like volunteering at the apothecary. So she's close by should you need her, but she gives you guys as much time as you want or need to mourn a obviously very stressful situation that she doesn't understand. You find yourself standing in both of you find yourself standing in the gaping fucking hole in the side of your house that looks like the equivalent of a high fantasy bus drove through it. The rain is pissing in on an angle, just fucking like just soaking. Let's be real, the room's fucked. Everything in there is just not salvageable. There's a huge hole in the wall. Rain's coming in. Everyone's wet. It's fucked. What's happening with you two?
Hugle must be in a state of shock, just staring out, watching the dragon disappear into the night with Voyage on its back. Just staring out.
I think after Voyage left and then Zeph ran out, Petunia would have taken a few steps to try and follow, and then just sort of stumbled and fallen down and is just sitting in the rain and is just so exhausted, and this isn't her loss to feel, but she can see that it's really upset the people around them and is sad for them, and it's just there's now a big hole in her house and she's worried about her mom, and it's just she's also crying a little bit at that point.
Overwhelming emotions. I think the thing that hits it for Hugle is when this new dog flies into the clouds and you watch like the cracking of thunder and lightning illuminate, and there's a silhouette of this drake like pressed against the clouds, and you keep watching as it gets smaller and smaller, and I think there's a moment where it's like, if I look a little bit longer, he'll come back, he'll turn around, like surely he can't leave.
I think Hugle gets it.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I reckon. I think the selling point is it's when the silhouette is gone,
that's when
and nothing comes
sending.
back. Yep.
Just I'm always here if you need to talk.
And you're
And
kind of
he'll
brought back into
receive that
reality.
message back if you've got someone else you need to take care of, at which point I think he'd turn around and realise no one else is in the room, and would go to run out front and probably find Petunia out in the rain. And with the pouring rain, he's going to take off his cowl and cloak and wrap it around her and walk her back into the house.
I think she'd just put her arms around you because she could tell that you were upset, and is trying the best she can in the state that she is in to comfort you.
You'll need some rest.
So do you. Will they be okay?
That stubborn boy survived a lot longer than we knew him. I'm gonna miss him. We'll see him again. Let's get some sleep.
You all find rest for the night, and awaken late into the next morning. The heavy rain does continue to fall, but you can see it's starting to relent a little bit. So it seems it's one of those multi-day fucking just blitzkrieg storms that goes in Miros for days at a time, and you slowly begin to see the teetering off. Even in what you know is the daytime, the sky is still just that blood red. Like you're at like the third day now of the moon rising. Like you're at the pinnacle of like the red moon rising. So like now it's all bets are off. Everything's gonna happen the way it needs to happen. Into the morning, you can hear the sounds of the village coming to life. You know, the tribesfolk and stuff. Once they've kind of realised that the rain's not really going to let up anytime soon, everyone kind of just goes, "Oh fuck, here we are. Then we'll just power through. You know, no days off on the workforce, mate. Geezers unite." Everyone gets out on the floor, and the mill starts operating again. The tribesfolk. In this instance, their construction efforts are halted, and instead it becomes an effort to begin packing down everything that they've set up, so they can begin to move. You know what I mean? They do not want to feel like they've overstayed a welcome that was ever so graciously put out to them, and they want to feel like bad guests. So if you guys were to peer out the windows in the morning, you see where like some of the tent poles are beginning to come down. Some of the log cabins that were halfway through construction have been broken down into singular walls and stacked onto carts. And thankfully, very kindly, in Potts Hollow, a lot of the beasts of burden are, by a normal humanoid standards, are like giant rams. So they're like horse-sized rams. So like for halflings, they look fucking ginormous. But for everyone else, they're like kind of just a bit bigger. And the village offers to allow them to, you know, take some of the rams on loan to begin moving their freight to their village site, and preemptively trying to plan how they're going to rebuild, since that issue was also taken care of by the broken few. But into the morning, you know, you guys all awaken and meet each other at some point. We'll come together. Any morning rituals that you guys want to do, because we are starting to come towards the end of our episode. We can kind of narrate how the next day goes ahead and what the next step is, you know, beyond this.
First thing in the morning, Hugle grabs Petunia by the side of his head, leans his head, opens his eyes, go purple, remove curse.
There you go.
Soon as I find you, same thing's happening.
I feel like at some point in the morning, Zeph would have crawled out, even though Zero only needs to meditate. But they would have crawled out and sat in one of the armchairs with a cup of tea and just the legs to the chest looking out the window.
Like the photo? Like the picture?
Like the fan art that I commissioned at the start of the campaign, yes.
Now I'm sad.
Yeah.
Now
I
I'm
knew
really
there was
sad.
a reason for it.
I was sad before.
I saw into the future.
I was sad before, but now I'm really sad.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about Zero?
When Zeph does crawl out and situate themselves, Zero's already up.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's one of those things where she knows that this is a point in time where she needs to get her shit together. So she bathes, gets her shit sorted, tries to kind of get herself together, and she looks in the mirror and she looks phenomenally worse than even how bad she looks on a normal day.
Yeah.
Like, her bottom eyelids are sagging, like, they're just dark, and her whole demeanor just looks depressed, and, like, it doesn't matter how she moves her face, it doesn't seem to shift from that, and she kind of just looks almost like a bit of a sorry sop with, like, the missing arm, and just the gloomy expression, but mentally she's like, I need to sort something out. Like, this can't be a mountain. I will only allow this to be a speed bump. The momentum needs to keep on keeping on. And she'll sort of come out and see that Zeph has situated themselves in the chair and having a tea, and she'll kind of walk past them to go and grab her stuff and start gearing up. And it's just a very gentle, kind of like as they walk past, her fingers kind of trail and tuck some hair behind their ear and like gently just rubs her hand over the back of their head, and we'll just start gearing up for a new day.
Okay. You guys eventually begin to put your kits together. And it is odd. It is odd getting like all your leather armor on, getting your blouse and stuff back together, and then putting the poncho over the top, and then the hat as well. At first glance, I feel it's like you guys go to leave to go meet back up at the branch house, and you walk past the mirror, and for a split second, with the way the poncho fits, you almost just look like you're back to normal. And then when Zeph opens the door to leave, a gust of wind comes in and blows it, and you see that half-folded, like, pinned sleeve where the arm used to be. And, like, your spine stiffens up because that sudden realization, it's like, no matter what I do, I'm always going to be reminded that, like, something got the better of me, and I lost something that I needed. And you feel the same thing where the Wanderer kind of tucks a bit of hair behind your ear, and he goes, "If it makes you feel any better, I think it looks cool."
Zero like has a moment where like they go to leave and she kind of just like closes her eyes and like tries to like, she's like search for, it's like, be nice, I'm finding it. Take you that long to find it? But it's like it's her like trying desperately to find the humor in it, and she finds a morsel of it, and that, I think that gives her just enough fuel to get through the day without shooting everyone.
Fair enough. What's the morning look like for our halflings?
I think Petunia's going to the garden.
Going to the garden?
Pretty well, first and foremost, yeah.
Hugle's following, probably to about the point where like you'd split off towards the building where they all are. Apothecary, that's the word. And starts to walk that way, but probably notices you start to walk towards the garden and reach out, grab your hand and pull you in. Squeeze. Kiss on the forehead. I need to go check on the others.
You do that. I'll be there.
I'll come find you.
I feel like you guys coming up the way would see where the two of them have a quick embrace and then separate.
Get here now. Pulls you down, grabs you, eyes go purple, remove curse.
Zeph looks like a wet rat. Their feet are still covered in mud because they left their shoes behind. No armor on. Just like fucking yank.
It's like Hugle's pulling out your armor as well from the bag of holding. He's probably gathered your stuff.
Blessings. Prayers.
Just puts armor on in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Or at least your shoes.
Yeah.
I would think, because I only had a little bit here as far as the garden, there was something I did want to acknowledge. When you go there, rain's a crucial thing for blooming gardens here in Potts Hollow. Even a garden that is as sad yet as beautiful as the Garden of Graves that exists behind Petunia's home in the surrounding woods. The soil's obviously like super moist from all the rain still coming in. The plants bob in the heavy winds and the thick droplets of rain and the dense canopies. But the thing that catches you the most is the fact that all those freshly dug graves that you guys dug before are now completely filled, and you can tell where you walk. Yeah, because you can see them. You walk in and you can see where there was, I believe it was three. There was 3 fresh graves dug that have now begun to fill in. Yeah.
Zero was so confident. She was all like, because the reason why she filled Zeph's was that she was like,
No, it was Voyages. I didn't dig one.
Oh, that's right. It was Voyages. That's right. Yeah, she filled in Voyages because she was like, this kid's not dying on my watch, so he doesn't even need a grave. Get fucked.
Well, they're definitely still there, but they're like filled in with like mud and water. Seemingly a blessing from the matron, maybe, or a reminder to perhaps have more faith in yourselves in the future. Who knows? The gods are mysterious entities in and of themselves. But now, all that really remains here is the small lake of colour from lives lost and tended to after death. But we'll go back to you 3 after the curing of the curse.
How you doing?
I
think being asked that, she doesn't make eye contact, just like through her her lenses. She just sort of looks over Potts Hollow in the rain, and she just goes, And then she kind of almost, you see like her torso move with her left arm to like push Zeph forward. So, because like she feels like Zeph could probably do with Hugle's compassion more than her at the moment. And the torso goes to move, and she just goes back to standing straight again.
I don't think Zeph has it in them at the moment to talk about what happened last night.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just one of those things where it's just like they need to process it first on their own before they can process it with everyone else.
Okay, that's fair.
Hugo will reach out and take Zero's good arm. I'll never forget the sacrifice you've made for my people. This doesn't change anything going forward. We're getting that cleric. We're getting your son back. As one parent to another, I'd easily give this arm up for mine. We've got work to do.
Zero will gently give your hand like a little couple of squeezes. And then she kind of, in a bid to kind of put the pep in her own step, it's kind of like the flat palm that goes down and then scruffs his hair like a little fucking orange in a fucking orange fucking juicer.
Hello? What's gone?
This guy's lost in the void.
No,
All the
just
random
I
paints or
can't.
something?
I'll
There's too
forget
much
about
junk
it.
in this room. God
No
forbid
such
movie's
thing.
gonna suck.
And then she'll give a very small like pull up at the lips and give a nod.
He looks to kind of both of you. He'll be back.
Children always move out when they think they are ready and come crawling back when the world and reality bites them in the ass. I envisage we will see him in a couple of months.
You should see the mess he made of Petunia's parents' house.
Zero zooms in then. No child of hers is making a mess of someone else's house and getting away with it. And
You
so
can see the hole from the bottom of the street. Like, you're like, oh!
there is like a twitch of her eyebrow, and like the points of her ears just like sort of like twitch a couple of times. And she's like, that was all him, was it?
And whatever it was the dog became.
You make sure you keep itemized bill of repairs, and I will make sure Petunia's lovely mother is reimbursed. She did.
Look around. The village is already working on it, and I imagine there's people, after seeing the mayhem of the night, starting to head up there with hammers and wood.
Almost on cue.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, they're down here. Yeah. Just a couple of heads of hair and just a log.
We take care of our own here, and as far as anyone else here now is concerned, every single one of this troop is one of our own.
Zero, like, sort of still looking at the damage. You see, like, because the center of her eye is, like, it's all black, but the center of her eye is, like, especially very dark. And you kind of see that darkness, like, move out of the corner of her glasses to look down at you. And it's giving the look of, I don't give a fuck how your economy works here. The child will be held responsible.
The child.
So she is still expecting an itemized list.
Man, there was a lot of vitriol on that, on the end of that list.
At this point, I'll probably just... I'm glad you're both okay, as you could be. I'm gonna go find Petunia in the garden. You're welcome. Otherwise, we'll see you back at the house.
Zero kind of looks to Zeph to see what they want to do.
Zeph just nods and starts walking back to the house to go cuddle Pat.
Come on, big baby.
Because now they're missing dog.
Zero will go with Zeph then.
You guys go back to the house. And, you know, Pat's eagerly awaits when the door opens, like, and he comes running down the hallway, but obviously he still's not used to being in, like, the tight hallways of a burrow, so he, like, knocks one of the fucking shoe stands over, comes bowling through, knocks a bunch of coats off the rack, and, like a very big Rottweiler, like, jumps up and, like, when he stands up on his back legs, he's, like, tall as fuck, because he's like a teenager. And he's very excited, but I think he, even as an animal, I think he can kind of clue on that something's a bit amiss, so he kind of, like, gets down on his paws and he, like, slunts through the hallway, re-damaging all the shit that he knocked down on the way. He's now knocked it the other direction. But he goes and just... and, like, lays in front of the fire, because, you know, he's just like, well, everyone's a bit sad. I think I'm just going to stay here and wait. And you, like, get on the floor and just...
Yeah.
like, lean on this fucking owlbear. Is there anything else you guys do while you wait?
Zero deciding to test her patience today. Because whose house are we in at the moment?
Petunia's parents.
Yeah.
So Rose is there, yeah.
She'll sit down in one of the seating rooms and she commandeers a coffee table and a couch, and she attempts to do her gun maintenance with only one hand, and that will probably consume the rest of her day.
There's
And
like
it
7
does.
halfling and 3 Harangon coming and going with hammers and... It's more like the old...
Oh yeah, but they're fast as fuck. They cast haste on them, they speed it up.
Two halflings on the other side of the big saws.
Oh, like those Christmas fucking clocks, man. That's awesome. I'm just shitting on this cute little fucking village we made. And it does. I think that seems to me like that's very much a thing that Zeph and Zero would do into the afternoon. I think, you know, like there's just... what else do you do at this point? No one's really got a game plan. We're kind of just coasting by this point. It is what it is. And we persevere because we must. We go to the garden. Petunia already there, standing in the rain.
Whereabouts in the garden are you?
She's standing between her dad and her child's grave, and you notice the grave that you dug, the dirt has been kicked back into it. And she's just a very blank facial expression at this point.
Hugle slowly approaches, sort of running his hands along anything he goes past to brighten it up. And will walk up sort of beside you and just lay in the wet, muddy grass. Running his hands through the grass, and more flowers and things are just popping up, and just sort of taking in that smell of wet earth and flowers, and look up at you. I'm so fucking proud of you.
Did you plan to come home?
What do you say?
Did you plan to come home?
I couldn't leave you to have to dig my grave if it came to that. And I was going to do whatever it took to make sure you got out of that cave. I've been out there. survived more than I thought I would. I'm never gonna leave you by choice in this life. But if it's me or you, I know the choice I'm making. Would have been a good way to go. Sure, there would have been some good songs written about it. But I'll tell you what, I'm fucking glad that I'm still here.
Yeah, me too. I think at this point you just slump down with the grass next to you.
You fought a fucking dragon.
We fought a fucking dragon. You know, I think I've been holding on to this for about long enough. I think we both need this. And she'll take the crown off. And there was that one flower. There was one flower that didn't wither like the rest of them when she wasn't wearing it. No. Hold on. She'll pull out this.
Why is that both of our first reaction?
I just hold it in her hand for a second and just... This is for you. That one unfolds, by the way. Just...
What am I doing here?
That's
struggling.
You're like, what the fuck am I doing?
There's no high decks. Which is really hard to unfold.
That's watching that unfold, that's impressive that you did that by hand.
Drops it, reaches up, grabs you behind the neck, pulls you in for a like full-on kiss.
It says, I forgive you.
Oh no, God. Oh.
And
I need something good to happen.
as a nice little cinematic moment, I will say we cut to this falling to the grass in the mud and and just getting rained on.
Yeah, it's 5 to 1.
You can all imagine what else happens. I'll leave that up to you.
Alexa, play Careless Whisper.
There's, after you kiss her, she'll just... Because I think seeing the grave brought her back to reality, and she feels like they've been falling into a lot of old patterns really quickly lately. And needs to address that before anything else happens. I know that there's more you have to do out in the world. I'm not going to tell you to stay. I'm not going to tell you to do anything. That's your choice to make. Stand by it this time. Consequences and all. But look, a part of me will always love you, Swale. Despite my best efforts. And if you choose to leave, I'll respect your decision, but you're taking any chance for this relationship with you. Because I can't wait forever. If you do stay, though, we'll work this out. The Galaxy's birthday's in a few weeks. If you just stay till then and you finish whatever it is you need to finish and you come home to me.
I have one more promise to keep. Then I'm yours forever. And I'm coming back. If a dragon can't stop me, then... But Zero gave her arm for us. And I have a promise to her to get her son back. And as much as it pains me to even think of walking out of this village again, I can't turn my back on that. But if you can see it in that giant heart of yours to hold on one last time, I'm definitely coming back. And if you're here for me, that's a life I'm excited to continue. But if you can't be, I'm coming back nonetheless.
You better talk to me every second day. You hear me?
Oh, I'm saving
Well,
a
I know
sending.
you can. If you wait this long again, I'll have to come out there and find you myself, and it won't be nice.
You're not leaving this fucking village again after what I saw yesterday.
It's gonna be hard for you to stop me if you're not here, eh?
What spells do I Banish!
That's my hammock in there! No one else is allowed to touch it!
Go into the ether and it's just a hammock and two poles. They're not affixed to anything.
Yeah.
The two hammocks, you're just like, oh, sup?
Ethereal hammock.
I feel like it's two very stark and contrasting reactions to a very hard point in our characters' lives. The game is set and it must be played. There is still a task at hand to achieve. Get the cleric, bring back the boy, and fucking wing it for the rest of it. Now, can someone please do me a favour and go get Bailey and bring him back to the table, because he will need to be here for this next sequence.
Where did Bailey go?
Upstairs.
And while Seb's disappearing, I believe he's still wearing.
Fuck me! Sitting right at the bottom of the stairs in the dark. Woo!
Baby, come back.
Get in here! Oh, was not ready for that.
Was dorky these trousers. They're no longer beige. They are brown.
Pop your
Depending on what he
lapel
ate
back on.
though. Yeah, they could be green. Yeah.
Working on it. Sorry, I was taking a nap.
That's alright.
Oh shoot.
I'm taking a nap, buddy. This one it ended up being. Oh.
Oh, that's getting the shit out of me.
I'm
Amanda. I'm 6.
You didn't even react, you just stayed there staring at me. It was
Can you just chat for me so I can see?
I'm chatting.
Yeah, okay, cool, that works. But yes, like I said, the game is set and it must be played. There are a multitude of things that still need to happen. But new promises have been made, which it seems on this go around our cleric will honour, and will see himself back home once the task is done. While our two bounty hunters find themselves struggling a little bit more, perhaps maybe not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel just yet, as the reality begins to set in of what now lies ahead. For this instance, in our adventure, this is where the tale of the broken few will temporarily cease as we wrap up the end of the season for our arc of these characters. But as the day rolls into evening, late afternoonish, this is what you all don't see, including you, even if as you fly to the mountain. The sky above almost burns with that like crimson glow, you know, that sanguine red that's just been spread over the skyscape for the last 3 days, and has only gotten worse up until now, the third day. The blood moon, the lunar curse, you know, the bloody moon, whatever people call it, there's heaps of different names for it. In the distance, the tall city of Hannenfrey stands over the surrounding farms, the homesteads, simple lives for those who did not wish to be encased in stone and the steel walls of this bureaucratic cage. A farmer walks with his mule and this rickety old cart. He is weathered in his years, his back hunched with the many decades of labour he's obviously endured. Even with the berating rain that seems to be ravaging the countryside, he is attacking the end of his working day with a smile. His mule, you know, honks in its argumentative tone and shakes its head as it pulls the old car behind him. Pardon me. And he watches as a small stone in front of him begins to, vibrate a little bit and begins to float. With all the rain around him, he could almost swear it was a trick of his mind, only it's not a trick. And as he begins to perceive this stone that floats in the middle of the pathway, more of them begin to happen. Like roughly 8 or 9 like stones, little like river rocks, begin to float with other bits of debris floating around him. His mule begins to like kind of like cry in fear as it can sense something is wrong in the air. And a look of worry crosses his face as he clears his throat and begins to slowly back away when there's just this whoop as like this disgusting, like just this rip in the fabric of reality opens and a portal opens up exactly where he stood. The old man has a split second to let out a shriek of fear as he is eradicated from the face of Miros, the portal opening up in his space and vivisecting him into pieces. His liquefied remains spray out in a circular fashion as his blood slowly glows with the after effect of the magic that has destroyed him. What bones and blood that were not entirely eviscerated or painted, the soil fly out towards the defenseless mule. A few stray ribs puncture the creature in its frontal lobe. If anyone was there to see it, they'd see the legs give out instantly as the brain stops sending signals to its extremities, but the creature's eyes look around in abstract terror, or at least in a way a mere pack mule can experience abstract terror. From within this portal, a rushing wind can be heard, and the amorphous and shifting sound of voices from beyond the shimmering. A white tiefling wearing a form-fitting leather sleeveless tunic and trousers with elongated horns. A blue-skinned eladrin with a shock of bone-white hair with 2 braids adorned in admittedly dirty but fanciful blue uniform. A tanned eladrin with high brown ponytail, burgundy clothes, wrapped knuckles, and a sinister-looking staff or glaive of some kind on her back. And a very small and slender tan-skinned fairy with a mismatched set of wings, beautiful tattoos and shoulder-length black hair clasping the tail of the tiefling. And finally, a large Goliath man adorned in a doctor's garb of old, a broad-brimmed hat and a plague mask at his hip and scars that resemble stitches all around his grey-skinned face. They all stand on their feet, but the fairy floats and sits up on top of the tiefling's horns as their eyes kind of adjust to pan out to see the gigantic city that looms before them. As the tiefling rubs his eyes, he goes, "Oi, where are we? Where are we? This crossroad seems familiar, but I don't quite know. Vinny, if you somehow fuck this up, I'm going to fucking break you in half." And the fairy kind of leans out as the burgundy tiefling walks up and begins, the burgundy eladrin begins poking the tiefling in the chest. As the fairy leans over and he goes, "Hey, he didn't do anything. I was grabbing him the whole time." As he says with a wink down to the tiefling. And the Goliath man with the kit stands up and he goes, "Hey, did the portals drop us somewhere else?" Oh, and you hear like the cracking of his bones in his back. Picks up his huge hammer that had fallen off his kit. And from all around them, yet deep inside the recesses of their minds, a collective, the voice cuts through the haze. "I told you, the Fey realm can be a fickle mistress, especially when it comes to time. Consider this my parting punishment for you technically failing your original assignment. Now let me waste no time here. That lanky-limbed, crooked-smiled, conniving, thieving cunt is still out there, and as long as he's alive, your deal remains unfulfilled. Now I cannot step foot in the material without what he stole from me, so you must find him, kill him, and bring me back his cart. Do we understand each other?" "Well, how can we find him now? This whole place is different," says the blue eladrin. "You leave finding that bastard to me. I'll pinpoint his..." You can hear the audible waving of a hand. "Whereabouts. And when I find him, I can send a member of the Embrace to find you and get you to him. Is this to your liking, Lady Xena?" Everyone kind of nods nervously in unison. "Good. Now, go be good little mercenaries and do what you do best." As he laughs and his voice breaks through the veil, as the Relicum all look to each other and try to figure out what their next move is. And that's where we will end our session and this season of Tomes and Tales.
Hold me back.
RPG.
Hold me back. Oh, you dog! You fucking dog! Oh, you like yummy! Oh,
Go watch the Reliquum for some...
Well, I guess, the party stayed in Port Solis. That means by the time this rolls back, we're going to have to steal you back. But in the wake of all the episodes, thank you for joining us and playing such a key part of the story. It was wonderful.
I had a really good time.
thank God!
Click. it's been it's been so much fun to bring this section of the story to life and to leave on such an erratic, dramatic moment with Voyage disappearing into the void for a little bit and going on a quest of self-discovery. And, we'll
I
have...
love you too, sister.
We'll have a new character will obviously come in. And
Other arm.
a new character will join the fray as the adventure continues. But, a couple of episodes in, new short form as we've gone through everything. We hope you liked it. We hope you liked this season. It's been an absolute fucking blast. It was cool to finally go to Potts Hollow after like a year and a half of building it. Jorja, we're going to discuss it in the tome table, which will come out after this. We were talking about this for ages, but we'll save that for that, so it's fresh in our brains.
We're going to go to break. We're going to come back straight after this and talk out this arc.
We do a tome table talking about the arc. Thank you so much for sticking around. We hope you guys enjoy it. We love you very much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye!